Good afternoon. This is the Athens in Motion Education and Communication Subcommittee meeting. I'm Teresa Friedlander, chair of this group and vice chair of Athens in Motion. And we have an agenda for our meeting today, which I hope we'll be able to put up for everyone to see.
Can you see it?
Yes, yeah, it's a little highlighted, but so
I think somebody else has it highlighted right now.
Yeah, we've got 4 topics, which is to talk about our AIM brochure. I'm so glad Scott Long from Bike Athens is with us because he is the customer that we want to serve with this. We need to talk about social media and options for scheduling posts, etc. And then ideas about tabling events that we might want to try to put on the calendar. And finally, if we have time, we can talk a little bit about, maybe what we want to see in our webpage when Daniel has time to focus on it. In the meantime, we can start doing some requirements and planning for it. So with that, let's talk about the Athens in Motion brochure. And Scott, what I would appreciate from you is if you could give us, your requirements, what you would like to have to hand out to people who come into your shop.
Well, I'm certainly looking for something that is concise, that can explain what Athens in Motion is, and how, maybe even how people can interact with y'all when it comes to doing public input and things like that, and where people can go and find sort of like projects that are happening now and get updates on that sort of stuff. I just got a new version of the Greenway brochure.
Okay, you're a little fuzzy sounding at the moment, Scott. I'm sorry. So
you turned into a robot, Scott.
Sorry.
The Greenway they did a new round of brochures.
Okay.
And I haven't really looked at it yet, but something to that effect is what I'm looking for.
Okay. We can surely come up with that sort of thing. I mean, we've got a lot of work done now, so that we don't have to really reinvent the wheel here. So we should be able to put something together for you for Athens in Motion. And then, is there any other type of brochure that would be useful for you to have? That might promote safety or whatever.
I mean, that kind of stuff I have already. I've got I've got bicycle pocket guides that have all the rules of the road. I've got some more extensive bike literature, stuff like this that's local, that people can see what's going on, is the stuff that I need, like, something that tells your story of what Athens in Motion does.
Okay. Well, and then, this is why I really want a website too, is because it would be great if we had some interactive maps that were on, accessible through the website, so people could actually look and see, what's in place, what's planned, what's funded, what to expect in the future. But yeah, we can certainly put together a brochure pretty easily. So do we want to, does anybody want to take the lead on that? Or do you want me to take the lead on that? Happy to do it. I will be leaving in 2 weeks though, to go out of town. So I kind of have to do it now or forever hold my peace.
I think it would be helpful to get kind of almost like an outline or examples of some stuff that you would like to see. It is something that we could potentially hire out. I think there were some things outlined in the communication strategy that talked about it, and we do have some templates. So it could be something that we fill in the information on, but whoever we do hire is still going to need a lot of information for what's needed in that. And so, are we wanting to have like a bike, like a network map, or is it really just information about Athens in Motion?
Well, I think it's really hard to put a map that makes any sense at all in a small format like that. I mean, that's just my feeling.
I mean, you guys are all over the county. It's going to be hard to make a map that's not the whole thing.
Yeah, that's so.
Right.
I guess I'd rather kind of like direct people to where they can get information. And if people want to call me directly, they can call me as long as I'm, available to answer calls. I don't know if that's protocol for us, or if they should call public information, or they should call you, Daniel.
Yeah, we can have our contact. We can have certain contact info on there. It would probably be staff contact, just because every time a commissioner changes out, you wouldn't want to have to update it, or if you switch phones or something.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a good point. So, okay.
There was a good map that Scott, you had kind of near your desk area, and it kind of also showed the level of comfort over an entire city.
Are you talking about the one from Madison?
Yeah, that's it.
This is substantial.
Yeah, that's a lot of paper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that we want to go that route, because we don't really, I mean, people are using their phones for their maps anymore.
Yeah, something we did on university a little bit is sometimes we put some QR codes on some flyers or signage so that they could scan the QR code and maybe it pulls up a map from there. Especially if they're using their phone for GPS or something like that. Also, you link right there. That kind of really cuts down on that content you need to hand out. I think we even handed out just some kind of like 1-page cards, front and back. They were on a little bit thicker cardstock, so they're durable, but they had some relevant information and then just links to go to find more kind of conclusive information.
So speaking of QR codes, so Daniel, if you're still here, would it be possible to put a QR code with that would take you to some sort of useful interactive map that we've already got? I mean, is there a map that would be good for people to just be able to access that would show where things are?
Let me pull up something that I just threw together.
Don't eat. Sorry, my dog's eating rubber bands.
I know how that is. So this is bigger so it's easier to see. So this is a map of our bike facilities. I was experimenting with this just to put something together. When you click on bike lanes, it pops up and highlights like all the current bike lanes, or if you want the off-road facilities, that kind of thing.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I think that would be very useful.
Yeah.
And I mean, it can grow, like as you're able to put the data in, if you haven't already done it already, but it could grow to show like where it will be, as things get built out.
Yeah. So So yeah, I'm hoping I can have this in by the time we turn in for the bike-friendly BFC application.
Mm-hmm.
You know, some of the things that they ask us are kind of highlighted here. You know, total roadway network in terms of how many miles of this by speed limit, and then it goes into you know, designated bike boulevard, wide paved shoulders, advisory shoulder bike lane, those types of things could be kind of the foundation of what the selection is here in the since that's kind of our metrics for how many bike facilities we have. I want to make sure that it matches up with how we track our bike facilities. And so
Right.
all
Well,
that
the
say,
nice-
yes,
the
we
nice thing
can make
about
a
these-
QR code. I don't know when it would be ready for public consumption, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so is there any sort of map like like a sidewalk gap map or something like that that's existing that we could link to, and then we could switch it out, just leave the QR code as it is?
I mean, there is this map from UGA's Community Mapping Lab.
Ooh,
And this more talks about the bikeability of
okay.
Athens.
That's great. I
Right,
like
very good.
the sound of that.
So this is what it gives you. It's hard to see what means what unless you like open up the legend, but
Mhm.
you can see there's like strongly preferred. These are the bike routes. So strongly preferred are the green areas. Preferred are the lighter green. Used with caution is orange, and then red is used only when necessary.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I think that's very useful. I think if we could have a link to that from the brochure, you know, that would be helpful to me as someone who would like to take a bike out and ride around.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly a good start until your other project there, Daniel, could be finished.
Yeah. And I mean, do we need to get any like permission from the university to link directly to that, or?
I mean, if you just, it's on our website, so it lives at the university on their servers, but it exists on our website for people to give input on it. Getting input on that map has been hard during COVID. But as far as I know, it's going to live on our website until we say no.
Okay, well, that's great. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the website where it is currently posted on Bike Athens.
Okay.
For the sake of like a mobile user, it might be best to, I mean, we could just leave it so it says follow the link.
Yeah, and then we can improve it over time.
Let's see what, let's see what it looks like on the phone. That's not bad. Yeah. That allows you to click on the full size map.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But you can zoom in, you know, just on
Right.
your phone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So yes. Now if we're gonna have it on an ACC product, then we need to generate an ACC QR code.
Yes.
So those are the kind of things that I can help with as you develop kind of what you want it to look like. But you know, it might be helpful to just see what some other communities are doing. And this is the easy part. You know, you basically just create a QR code for your link. And then if we ever want to change that, I don't actually have to change the QR code. I can just reprogram the QR code to be the new link. So.
Right, right. Yeah, it's totally flexible. All right, well, I think that's a good place to start. Anybody
Yeah. Yeah.
else have any thoughts on that?
What else are you wanting to include?
I didn't hear what you said.
What are you after?
Oh, what else are you wanting to include as far as information goes?
Well, what Scott was saying that, what is Athens in Motion? How can people get information? What is project? Where can they find project information? I mean, we can do a nice little FAQ kind of brochure with that QR code to link to the map, and put a contact phone number on there. And you know what? Athens in Motion should have an email address, I think.
Well, I mean, there's the public comment, I think is the
You think? Okay, so then we
version
can.
of that. And so you want to make sure you share that link for someone
Yeah.
to provide public comment.
Yeah, link to public comment. Okay. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying, Teresa, if there's the overall concept is an FAQ about Athens in Motion, and some of those frequently asked questions are, what are the current projects? Where can I bike? Those types of things where we have links to more information, and we just, kind of try and keep it simple on this first iteration to just to say who we are,
Right.
and what we're trying to accomplish.
Right. And
For the
how
community.
you can get involved. I mean, I think that's
Yes.
important.
Oh, yeah. Good point.
And I think that we can also put like our monthly meeting schedule, on there, and
Yeah.
say, it's open to the public. I mean, if anybody wants to come to our meetings, they're welcome. And how to find out when and where.
I would avoid things like that, because if you're printing 100 of these and then you change, or 1,000 of these and you change the date or a time. So what I would say is, like, go here to find out.
Okay.
But those are just some small details that we can work out.
Yeah, we can tweak this. Now, do we have a time frame that we would like to get this done in? I mean, do we want to get it done by September? Do we want to get it done by the end of the year? I mean,
is there any kind of event or something that we want to hand these out or distribute them that we could target? I don't know.
Well, my question is largely aimed at Scott, but then also because, Blaine, you have students who might, benefit from some of this information. It would be good if we could, have something for them. But, again, getting it ready for the beginning of this current school year, I think is going to be a stretch.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, that's about a month away, I think, from when students are back on campus.
Yeah.
I don't have a timeline on my end.
Okay. Well, that's helpful.
I'd say the biggest timeline is, if you want to use funds to hire someone, it needs to be before, spring of 2023.
Oh. Okay. Well, that gives us a lot of time to work with. Okay. Yeah. And I think we should definitely talk about getting some professional help on this.
So if we can come up with some sort of skeleton FAQ and
Right.
have that available to then take to some sort of contractor.
Right.
to make it look pretty.
Yeah, and I mean, with the FAQs, like within our website, we have the ability to create basically an FAQ module.
Mm-hmm.
And so I can pull up leisure services. I think we have frequently asked questions on there. So we're gonna use my old office as example.
Okay.
So when you go to the park planning office, you know, kind of have a list of projects, master plans, a link to all the surveys, and then there's this FAQ section at the bottom, and you click view all. And there's different ways to show. You can optimize it to only show, you know, 5 or 10 options, but yeah, when it basically you just have it, you know, what's the difference between park planning and planning, and then there's a written description of the difference there. You know, what is a park master plan? Why should we create master plans for parks? How can I participate in the park planning process? Who's my commissioner? So I'm just gonna double check, make sure this link works. I always like to do that when
But yeah, always a good idea, because sometimes they die.
yeah.
So Daniel, could we use our funds to pay for someone to do some website development for us? I mean, is that something we could do, or is that something that you have to do? I mean, you'd obviously supervise it, but
I mean, you know, I have the ability to edit the web page. If there's something you want on there, I can do that. But if there are materials that you're wanting to develop for the web page, then that's where it might be helpful to hire somebody. But it kind of depends on what you're asking for.
right. And I think we need to kind of figure out exactly what we're asking for, and but that's number 4 on the agenda anyway. It was just a thought. All right. Well, I mean, I'm happy to go ahead and like sketch out an outline and send it to y'all, and then, you know, have at it. And I'll be away. I'm leaving in 2 weeks. I'll be away for 2 weeks, completely out of touch. So don't even think about calling me. But then when I get back, I'll be ready to get back to work on it. So,
Excellent.
all right. So the next thing we want to talk a little bit about is social media, because we need to kind of get our act together on that a little bit. And I looked at some of the social media management software out there, and there's a lot, and some of it's quite expensive. Let's see. I found this thing that said the 8 best social media management software of 2022, and it kind of listed them out. And it gives you a link to each one. You know, like Hootsuite is one we all sort of know about, and that one is super expensive. I mean, they're all expensive except for one, but it's like the professional for 1 user and 10 social media accounts is like $50 a month. Okay. And you know, I don't know if that's something we could, I mean, I know we could pay for it, but is that, I don't know, is that something we want to do? I mean, the one that I thought was the most flexible and the most economical is called Buffer. Sorry, my dog is being dumb. And it, you know, they start with a free plan, but their essentials plan is $5 a month. And it, you know, seems like it's got a pretty good number of things you can do with it for that price.
Well, it doesn't sound like $600 a year is horrible, especially since then last year, didn't we, give money back to we didn't
Yeah, I mean,
spend
we
our
didn't,
entire
we didn't
budget,
spend every penny, no.
right?
You
So
know,
we might as well
just,
get a tool that's gonna facilitate us
mhm.
and doing social media. Because
I think the big thing to consider is like, is it necessary? Like those are usually when you have a lot of different social media accounts
Mhm.
and you're having trouble keep them all in sync and like with the same message. There's a lot of tools that are free out there too, and I think they're outlined in our communication strategy. That's some of the research that they did in that
Yeah. If
document.
there's stuff
And,
that's free, I mean, we don't need excuse me, half a second. We don't need a huge piece of engineering. We just need something kind of simple to make sure that we stay on track and on schedule. Uh,
so I guess like, what are your goals with the software?
well, basically, because I need to be told what to do and when to do it because I'll forget. And so I like the idea of having something that kind of allows you to set up your schedule when you're focused, and then I don't have to remember. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe y'all are better at that than I am, but
well, and I think it's important too that whatever the software does, it allows us to have our message across all the different platforms of social media,
yeah,
because not everyone uses every.
right. I mean, some people use Facebook, some people use Twitter, some people use Instagram.
Well, on the action plan, on page 8, there's a section where it talks about, you know, the outreach and communication strategy matrix, right? And
Yeah.
on there it says AIMC social media accounts. So you can see kind of under the tools, what are the different tools and types of messaging you can do. And then, you get into connectivity, equity, more users, education, implementation. There's ongoing and targeted under each of those. And then it kind of shows you who your target audience is and what the message types are. So I think it's one thing to like go ahead and like buy a software that'll help you manage it, but if you don't have the strategy that you've already started implementing to where you know what types of messaging you're going to do, because really, I mean, you could start off with just a Facebook account, right? Or Instagram, whatever one you're most comfortable with, and then keeping that one up to date. And then from there, starting to spread out the messaging. But for right now, I mean, I feel like $600 could go a long ways towards some other stuff.
Right.
And while we did have, I think, 1,300 left over last year, I'm hoping that, we can be on it a little more this year and spend all that out, but put it towards, to where we're not just trying to rush to spend money because we have it and actually like find meaningful things. And so this early in the year, we usually look at things more like, okay, what is our plan for the year of like what we want to spend money on? So I think it's important to think about that, in terms of how many tabling events do you want to do? What's the registration going to be like for those events? And then, it could even be hiring a social media intern, a communications intern. 15, you probably want to pay $15 an hour. And how much can you afford to do? And I don't know what the answers are there. I mean,
I don't either. But we've got this this strategy, and they gave us kind of an outline for like ongoing outreach for a monthly posting, and I think that's very helpful. But we kind of need to like get started thinking about doing that sort of thing. And, you know, we need a procedure or something, because otherwise, you know, it'll just be sort of haphazard the way it is right now, where, you know, I'll put something out there or Lauren will put something out there, or, you know, which is fine. But I mean, we should have, you know, at least a monthly kind of official Athens in Motion post, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, that's why we did the strategy, right? So that it would tell us kind of what to do. So I think the next step is to use the strategy to determine how much of it do you want to get started on.
Right. Okay, so if we wanted to do one for August, and Blaine, if you're still here, you know, it'd be welcome new students, faculty, and staff. Focus on explaining the many elements of Athens transportation network that helps everyone get around. So, you know, we could come up with some cute little post about that. You know, school's back in session, yada yada.
Yeah, and direct them to available resources, maybe, especially since some of these people might be very, very new to the city, first timers.
Right.
I mean, Blaine, do you have any ideas about something that would be useful? Because if you could like just sketch it out for us, you know, then we can spend some time fine tuning it and then put it out there on social media. I mean, right now we've got a Facebook page and we've got an Instagram account, but I'm sure we could figure out how to use the others too.
Yeah, you know, we have auxiliary services has a marketing team. I could try to tap into them. They're like everywhere else. They're a little short on support right now. They're kind of going through a transition phase. But yeah, I could definitely reach out to them and see what the options are. I know they do things like like we're talking about, scheduled, planned, you know, announcements and things like that, and across all different kinds of social media platforms.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you know, y'all have marketing teams, like y'all are really the most effective way at getting in touch with students. Like, I'm not sure how many followers we have, but if we're putting out posts that are like, hey, students, welcome back, here's some resources, but we have 5 students who follow us, like, I think it makes more sense for us to package up some information for y'all to distribute,
Yeah, that's
kind
good.
of on our behalf, or linking. You know, I don't necessarily want to build a user base before we have content, but
Right.
there's just, it's, you know, it's kind of, it's a very tricky thing, and once you start doing it, you don't necessarily want to be intermittent with it.
No, I mean, we need to like have a plan in place to make sure that we're kind of regular about this.
So I know one of the positions that I'm hoping we can get in TPW is a education specialist, and maybe they could also double as, you know, communications. But yeah, it's that's a whole other year before we will even know. If I still have to like write the job description and everything, get it through our process, and that usually takes about a year. So
Yeah, don't be in a hurry, in other words.
yeah, I think it might be helpful to discuss through email which parts of the action plan you want to get started with.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, I was thinking about that. You know, so obviously the brochure is the first bit, and then you know, I think we ought to start doing a little monthly. You know, maybe we discuss it at our monthly AIM meeting. You know, just do a monthly post.
And what projects are ongoing
Yeah, just, you know,
to try and get feedback minimally,
right.
public feedback.
And you know, get people to interact with us. You know, if you're
Right.
interested, reach out.
So what if if we just put as much effort as possible, or put the most of the effort um, into the pamphlet, that we first focus on getting our information out there, who we are, what we're trying to accomplish.
Right.
And then once that's finished, then we can start doing the social media activities. I think in the meantime, we still, with at least the web, the two mechanisms that you did mention there, Teresa, we could still just put on those a monthly, here's what we're doing, links to the agenda, links to the minutes.
Yeah, we could
It
do
doesn't
that.
hurt, even if it's only 10 people out there, at least it's a start.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't, it's not much of an effort.
Right.
I would just throwing this out there as an idea for this
Sure.
month's post,
Okay.
since College Station is going to be a big problem through when the students arrive. The goal is to get it fixed before the students get here, but maybe just to post telling people how to use alternative transportation to get around that part of town.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to do that. So does anybody here want to take a stab at that?
So,
Happy to look at it.
Yeah, I mean, if you could I mean,
what is being the Winterville person? What is happening with college?
that's a,
Yeah, the short version is a contractor drilled into a water main, caused a very extensive amount of damage. The road is permanently shut down until repairs can be made. I think they're hoping to have the repairs by the end of the summer, but I don't really know any of the assessments or findings that have come out. But it affected a section of College Station Road that had bike lanes, and while they were out there on site, there was 5 cyclists who just went under the caution tape. But it is not safe to ride. There was like a county vehicle that was parked there while they were there, and the pavement just crumbled out from underneath one of the tires, like 20 to 24 inches deep.
oh my God.
So,
Wow.
and it was just parked. So
Yeah, so this could be
great.
a major sinkhole incident.
yeah, there's no idea what the damage and how much sediment and how much earth is still under there. But they're doing all the stuff that needs to be done. But in the meantime, the westbound traffic is closed completely from Riverbend up to. You can check out our website and it has all the info you need. I don't want to misstate anything.
It's Research, Research Drive down to just past the bypass westbound.
Okay.
Oh.
That's the part that's not the damaged portion though. That's the closed portion.
The closed. Excuse me. Sure.
Yeah, actually, here.
Athens in Motion can just repost the update on your social media to give people information about it. And then there's your post for July, August.
Right. Okay. And then also, please do not ride your bicycle through here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, luckily, if you're on a bike, there's a lot of options. It's basically don't ride your bicycle on this portion here.
Right.
If you are coming up this road with your car, you'll have access to the Greenway Trailhead here, assuming the parking lot allows you to park there. And then you could take that trail up and over to campus. Or if you're on your bike, the detour will take you across the street and on the sidewalk.
So is the detour for pedestrians and bicyclists marked or signed?
We are working on all of those things right now.
Okay.
So I believe I haven't been able to do a site visit. So this is if on the top of the webpage you'll see this alert, and And then all of the information, up-to-date info can be found here. So,
Okay. All right. So yeah, we can definitely do that. That's not a problem.
so yeah, I think, highlighting that the Greenway is still open for traveling, and to just be mindful of the actual like caution signs. Don't move them out of the way. Be safe. That kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
What a mess that is.
I think it could be helpful to come up with a list of postings or types of postings and how often you want to do it.
Yes, it will.
And bring that, or like through email maybe, and then we can talk about it at our next meeting. But yeah, I don't know that trying to digest the whole thing all at once and jump straight into an entire year's worth of planning just seems like a lot. And I don't know that any one of us are like expert social media.
Okay, so let me ask you all, do you want to try to do like a monthly meeting as a subcommittee? Because we could do that and we could use that as an opportunity to put together a social media post for the month. I mean, if that sounds like a reasonable idea.
That's fine with me. It shouldn't be a long meeting.
No, it wouldn't be a long meeting.
So that'll be a new standing part of the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, I think it's good.
Cool.
Okay, so add social media plan to monthly communication meeting. Okay. All right, well, that would be good because that way we've got, more than just one person looking at it. So we have some idea that we're all on the same page.
Right.
Okay. I think that's a good place to start. So, all right. So, we need to put something together for that College Station situation. And I would be super grateful if somebody could work on that. I've just got too much to do before I leave.
I can take a crack at it.
Yeah.
I would say number one thing is to share the post probably that is already posted on social media.
Yeah.
And just like for more info, like, hey, just letting everyone know this.
Yeah.
I just don't know what the rules are with we don't necessarily want conflicting information at all. So.
No, but like
I say if it's just a link to the information that's already existing on the ACC website.
Yeah.
Or what about like just going over there and taking a picture on site, like say, don't
fall in any potholes.
Right.
Don't bike under tape.
Right. Do not go under the tape. Be safe. I mean, does anybody feel like going out there and taking a picture or two?
Yeah, I can do that.
Thank you, Randy. That would be so nice.
Yeah, and once you've just kind of like jotted it all out, if you can send it over to me, I'll run it through our social media, our public info office to make sure that they are good with that type of sharing.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I think a picture is worth 1,000 words, and if you look at those maps and it's kind of hard to figure out exactly what the situation looks like on the ground. But I mean, if you have a picture and you show the hazard right there and you show the signs and, say there are detours that you can use that are safe, I think that might be useful.
Yeah, because I mean, currently on the website, it's just several paragraphs and that picture that you showed us, Daniel, or the diagram.
Mhm.
So, all right. So Randy, you're gonna work on that specific post. Teresa, are you gonna work
I'm
on
gonna work on the brochure outline.
the brochure outline? Okay, and so then we'll hold off on creating a like pulling out the strategy of for social media posts.
Yeah, I mean, let's start out kind of simple and low tech. You know, let's just have our monthly meeting and, you know, come up with what we want to put on social media as our official post.
All right.
Of course, now, and then of course I don't know, like when's our next meeting? It's going to be in August sometime. Yeah, I'll be back. So okay. All right. So do we want to talk about tabling, Daniel?
Well, I have some ideas. What not to just keep it at tabling, but like for instance, Historic Athens Porch Fest.
Uh-huh.
That's I'm looking at the calendar right now. This is from visitathensgeorgia.com. Historic Athens Porch Fest. It might be fun to do a bike ride tour, right? Where we meet up and bike around to see the shows, and we could do an Athens in Motion group ride where people could come join us if they're interested.
That sounds fun.
You know, the Twilight Criterium is April 21st, which I guess this might be old calendar. I don't know. I'm not really sure.
All right, but I mean, but Twilight would be an appropriate thing, I would think. I mean, this last time was the first time I'd been to it, and you know, I didn't see the whole setup. I guess there's stuff that happens during the day. Are there kids' activities and things like that?
I'm not.
Kid zone.
Yeah, there's kids zone.
Kids zone. Okay, so yeah, see, like that would be a good place to start. So we could do a table in the kid zone.
So that's on this calendar. It's showing April 21st to April 23rd, 2023.
Okay.
So it might be good to. I don't know if this is something where we want to talk about the events right now, or if everyone if you want to send out a poll to the commission saying like, hey, do you have any ideas for?
Well, I mean, there's some that we already kind of know about. So we've got like the Green Life as Expo, but like, what about half? I mean, you know, I don't get out a lot, so you know, I depend on other people to tell me what good ideas are.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
Well, actually, I like your idea, Daniel, of just say, you know, if we can send out an email to the commission and say, you know, what events, because there are a lot of events and we certainly don't all go to each one of them. But I bet between us all, we can come up with some good ideas and put a schedule in place for 2023. Or maybe you know, there might be something, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
Right.
For the rest of this year. Other than
but I would also keep it not just tabling, but those types of events, right? So like some idea, and you can put in some example ideas. So like, you know, tabling at the farmer's market, you know, doing a group ride at Porch Fest, you know, basically compose an email, send it out to the commission, and then find out which stuff that people would get excited about, you know, having. And then from there, the communications committee can start planning out the schedule and take care of the details. But I think it's something where you want more people to really have some input on that.
Right. Absolutely. So yeah, I can send a follow-up, you know, I'll write the minutes up here and then I'll just attach that to a memo to the commission.
Excellent.
We can always do a float in the holiday parade Athens in Motion float,
Yeah,
literally in motion.
Yeah.
Oh, good. What about second line?
I like it.
I hate to be, ignorant and cynical, but do the schools still have band? Like, do kids learn how to play musical instruments anymore?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
Yeah, there's at the Christmas parade, they've had some bands in that, and
That's good. That was my favorite thing in school was band. Band saved my life.
Yeah, go ahead and add in the float idea, see if that's something that other commissioners would be interested in.
Or,
I,
I
I,
mean,
I
we
like
could
that
just,
idea.
I mean, a float,
Yeah.
we could just like ride bikes,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to. That I think that would actually be preferred.
Yeah.
To not drive a big old float through the parade, but like, yeah.
Okay, well, that sounds fun. All right, so I can
So
send
you'll
that.
put together an email kind of outlining some ideas of examples
Yeah.
of events, and then one thing that might be fun too is like a bike ride tour of Christmas lights or
Oh,
something
yeah, that's a great
around
idea.
town. So just like those types of outreach events might be fun. And I mean, obviously we should also look at tabling, but I think most of the people are on the commission because they like bikes or walking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right.
What was the last thing on the agenda?
Okay, the last thing on the agenda was basically, just, well, we kind of already covered this, but like our requirements for, the AIM webpage. And so, I think we can all think about that, like what we would like to see. What would be useful information for people. And I think we've got it out there. We just need to like put it together. But we don't want to create a situation where it has to be constantly updated. It should just be links to things that get updated in the course of people doing their work.
Right.
Yeah, right now we have two web pages. One is the Athens in Motion Bike Pedestrian Master Plan,
Mhm.
and the other is the Athens in Motion Commission webpage.
Right, and those are they're basically static. It's the list of who's on the commission, and it's the list, and then it's the plan itself.
Yeah. So, the Athens in Motion plan, I think, some of the things that'd be helpful to know are kind of like what, because when I look at this, I'll go ahead and share my screen. So obviously there's the notifications and the info and comment form. This just takes you, I think, to the other page. Yes. No, this is, yes. Okay. So on this page, the previous one that's loading right now, on here, it makes sense that we would have an interactive map,
Yes.
or frequently asked questions about the plan. Maybe upcoming plan, we are coming up on almost 5 years and there's supposed to be a 5-year update. So like, so kind of a list of ideas of kind of improvements you'd like to see to this, because it helps me to just actually have like a description of like
Sure.
what changes you want. And then from there, a priority list. So if
Right.
your top priority is a interactive map of the plan, then I would say you probably would need to pay an intern to do that. Now, if you're willing to be patient with that, I'm probably going to create an interactive version of that as part of the plan update. But yeah, so getting together an idea. Does anybody have any other ideas of what could be done on this webpage?
Well, I mean, I think that it's there's no eye candy, and a good web page has some eye candy. And so I think that whatever we do, we want to make it a little more fun and interesting for people to look at. So, you know, and again, that's not my forte. I mean, somebody else can do that because they've got the talent and I don't. But, you know, I think that, yeah, if we can get that interactive map, it doesn't have to be done right away. I think get it done right and then link it in, the FAQs. And then if we have project status, or if we're able to show some of the, like, link to the engineering drawings for some of the projects that are being worked on, you know, is that kosher? Can people do that?
So what I would say there is we would just link them to our project page for all of those.
Okay.
So this is our bicycle and pedestrian improvement projects. It's got the Lexington Road sidewalk extension, Cherokee Road sidewalks, Jefferson River Road sidewalks, Riverbend Road, and Barber Street bike and pedestrian project.
Okay, so
Now, most of these-
I've never seen this page. I had no idea it exists, and I think that's part of what, you know, my issue with this current website is that,
Yeah, I would
you know, you
agree.
really have to work hard to figure out what's going on, and we ought to make it a lot easier.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the struggle, right? Like, how many of you follow Transportation Public Works Facebook page?
I know, right?
You know, like, or are signed up for the listservs, you know, where we send links to this stuff. Like, we can build the website, but then you can't really rely on someone just being able to like navigate to the page they need to be at. And so,
Mhm.
you
Well,
know,
that's what we
everyone
need to
has
do
their
is
own
we
way
need
of
to
like
have
navigating.
we need a user interface that, you know, kind of allows people to quickly find what they want to know. And you know, there's an art to that.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where a lot of people don't know they want to know something until they see it, you know?
Mhm.
Right.
You know, if we go to Cherokee Road sidewalk page, I haven't clicked on this. So, you know, this is where you can get the notifications, and here's our videos.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever, even though I've signed up for, I don't think I've ever gotten a notification.
Right. Yeah, and like personally, I would prefer that we have a notification list for all of the bike and pedestrian projects, because you really have to be really specific about, you know, okay, we are now doing something with this one project, and we haven't used this listserv in a year and a half because it's been in engineering, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, and I mean, there's things to update, you know, it says sidewalks right now, and really it's a multi-use path now,
Mhm.
but yeah, this is part of the struggle is the more pages like this you create, the more maintenance you have to do.
Mhm.
Um,
Well,
and
see,
so,
I don't want us to be creating content at all. I think what we want to be doing is pointing people to the content,
Right.
you know, that other people update in the course of doing their work. I mean, if we have to like stay on top of all those projects and update things, and we're gonna mess it up and we're gonna stop doing it.
so what I'm hearing is you want a button on here that says, check out our ongoing projects.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you want an interactive map. You want a button for ongoing projects.
Right. This is what
Um,
we're working on now, so people can actually go in and see that we've actually, because like, you know, like Jefferson River Road, okay, so, you know, as far as anyone in the world is concerned, there's absolutely nothing happening on Jefferson River Road. I mean, nothing. So if we were to like point them there, say, okay, so here's what the the current plan is, here's what's going to happen, and then, you know, some idea of a schedule if they have that information.
yeah, and that's complicated too, because when things get delayed,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, yeah. So, I mean, obviously, we don't want to have anything that we have to spend a lot of time worrying about, you know, changing it if it gets out of date. I think we just want to use what's already out there, but just package it in a way that people can access it, you know?
Well,
Right.
so what would be helpful for me is if y'all look at these web pages and the information that we're providing and tell me if you have feedback for what you would like to see different.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is, I mean, you know, we could link to this, but unless we change anything over here on the individual project pages, then this is be what we're linking to.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so,
And I don't have a problem with that. Just I'd like there to just be something, because I mean, you know, right now I look at the Athens in Motion page and it tells me next to nothing. You know, it tells me what I already know, which is that I'm on the commission until the end of this month, and then maybe I'll get reappointed. And then it tells me what the plan is. But I mean, I would really love to have that. I don't know how you got to that page you just showed us that had the project list.
yeah, I just go to accgov.com/sidewalks. And that takes you, we ended up using that page as our because it started off as just sidewalk projects, and because every sidewalk project is turned into a multi-use path, it's just our bike and pedestrian improvement projects.
Right.
And then within each one, you know, we've got story maps.
Right. So that stuff is all there, and that's what I'd like for people to be able to find.
Right.
So, but yeah, it'd be helpful to know kind of what aspects on our webpage are most helpful, and then we can try to organize around that.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
this is not going to happen quickly, and I know that, Daniel. So, but I really want us to start thinking about it, you know, so that we can create a web presence where we're not reinventing the wheel. We're not creating a maintenance nightmare for anybody, especially not for you, Daniel. But you know, where people can go and actually get the information without, you know, scratching their heads and saying, well, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. You know, I mean,
Yeah, I mean, if like linking to this bike pedestrian improvement project page, I could have that probably done today.
sure.
You know, I just need to get in touch with PIO and get them to make a button for me. But yeah, just the info for me for what you want to see is the more important part.
All right, so we'll start working on requirements.
And then also, you know, when we look at the Athens Motion Commission page, like, what do you want to see there? You know, we have the most recent, or I don't know, this is March 22nd video.
Was that a meeting? Okay, so
Yeah, I'm not really sure. I don't actively manage any web pages. These are just ones that exist. So I have not really checked this. But this, I would imagine this is supposed to, this is probably just playing the playlist. So,
I mean, if there's a way to like link to our agendas, link to our minutes, you know, without having to go through that whole county calendar rigmarole, which I
it's
find
right here. There's the agendas and minutes you can click on, and it pops up with.
Where do you see it?
So right here,
Okay.
online agendas, minutes, and YouTube videos.
Okay.
This is
Good.
on the Athens Motion Commission page, and then when you open it, it gives you a list. You can see the videos are here, and then once I upload minutes, whenever that does happen, I have all of the main minutes uploaded. Thank you, Blaine. But I don't always get the committee meetings uploaded, so.
Yeah. But that's very useful to have that. And I guess what I'm hoping eventually is that we'll have a more visually pleasing user interface.
So yeah, so with that, just let me know what you mean by that. You know, photos, pictures, like visually pleasing is really subjective.
Well, it's
Sure.
very subjective, you know, but see, this is not visually pleasing, what you're showing us right here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's perfectly fine for a government agency, but for, you know, a user interface, it's just like, blah.
So yeah, just let me know.
Okay.
Send me some examples of visually pleasing, and tell me like, because I mean, I think hypothetically I'm supposed to be able to edit this. Let me look.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be kind of a fun project that we can work on. You know, and it can be done incrementally. You know, I think the most important thing is figuring out what the information is that we want to have there, and then we can figure out how to make it easy to navigate, easy for people to look at and say, oh yeah, I want to learn about this. Or, oh, that's where I can get information about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just let me know what changes you want to see. You can email me a change and I'll let you know, like if it's doable. But like I don't know if you want to agree as a committee on the changes or if individually y'all want to just reach out to me and say, hey, it'd be helpful to get this info.
But can we set that as an action item for next month's meeting?
Yeah, we can do that. And you know, I also want to like spend a little time kind of going through all those links, you know, and making sure I can find them, and then you know, then I'll have a better idea of you know, what I'd like to see.
Cool.
All right. Anything else, anyone?
No, that's good. That's a lot.
Yep. Well, you guys are awesome. And I guess we can say this meeting is adjourned at 5:11.
All right.
All right.
Very good.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
everybody.
Hasta la vista.